Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I'm sure we'll have a few more people that will jump on and join us. I want to thank everybody for showing up and, continuing to be consistent because as I've learned doing this, this is not always easy to show up every week. And I know that there are some people who do outreaches every day. So thank you so much. Today, I want to look at, as we welcome in another Wisdom Wednesday with Coach Wendy, what it is and how to talk a little bit about, do you know your assignment? And as I was sharing this with someone, they were saying, is your assignment in alignment with your gifts? So I'll repeat that. Is your assignment in alignment with your gifts? So give that some thought for a second, because right now we're in a lot of controversy, we're in a lot of hustle and bustle, we're in a lot of things, and we can get pulled in so many different directions where sometimes we're wondering, what should I do next? And I believe that for people who have multiple gifts that are good at a lot of things, sometimes it's difficult for them to even pinpoint what their assignment is. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but I also wanted to share a quote by Dr. Martin Luther King that I think is very apropos right now. Hey, Sherry, thank you so much for joining. Hey, David, good to see you. We're talking about today, do you know your assignment? And I was just sharing that another friend of mine was saying that when he was giving me some feedback on what I was talking about, he said, ask and think about, is your assignment in alignment with your gifts, with what you do and what you enjoy? So I want to do a quote real quick by Dr. Martin Luther King. And he said, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenge and controversy. So how that fits in what we're talking about today about your assignment is actually when the rubber meets the road and we're dealing with a lot of things, we have to think about, are we really doing what we were called to do? And oftentimes people will say, well, I can do a lot of things, and I actually am helpful here and I'm helpful there. But the question becomes, are you spreading yourself too thin? Are you really focusing on what you really should do? Because sometimes some of us really major in the minors. We make a list, we have all these things that we want to accomplish, and we start checking off the little things first. And the problem with that is we never sometimes get around to the things that we really should be doing. So you got to think about that a little bit. Hey, Ed, I saw your comment. That's okay. Even if you drop and come back and forth, it's okay. There's no problem with that. We'll just keep kind of, bringing up and talking about what is our assignment. And as we continue to think about that, especially right now, we get frustrated. We start wondering, oh my goodness, am I doing enough? Am I doing a good job? Am I really fulfilling my calling? And sometimes it's really hard to say because we get pulled in so many different directions. And right now, as it relates to this movement, because it's not just a moment, it is a movement. We start feeling like, okay, I've marched, I've protested, I've donated money, I'm sharing my voice on various platforms. What can I do now? What is it that I'm called to do now? We get confused. We're also anxious. We sometimes get a little fearful and doubt ourselves in terms of wondering, is what I'm doing really making a difference? And what I'd like to say is yes. Yes, because all voices need to be heard. Hey, Mandy, thank you so much for joining us. We're talking about right now, are we in alignment with our assignment? Is our gifts in alignment with our assignment? And so let's pause for a second and let me just kind of break it down just a little bit more. When we're talking about our assignment, the question becomes, what does that really mean? What is my assignment? Well, the way I look at it, and people who've been following me for a while probably have heard me say this before because it's not new. And I believe when you have things that are right, you don't always have to start all over. You just keep emphasizing things that have worked and continue to work. So as we're talking about our assignment, which deals with our gifts, we're going to look at three words. So if you have a pen, please jot these down, and I hope they'll be helpful to you even later. I'm talking about your meaning, your message, and your mission. Oftentimes, when I'm trying to wonder, okay, Wendy, what do you do now? Because sometimes I can get caught up. I can be doing a lot of different things and kind of spreading myself a little thin. And I have to say to myself, did I get back to my core? Did I get back to my center? Because our meaning is our calling or our assignment, which is basically why we are supposed to get up every day, what we're supposed to do when we get up every single day and we have our marching orders. Number 2, our message is what we say, which is basically how we carry out our assignment. It's what we say, it's what we do, it's the actions that are being in place to carry out our meaning. And then finally, the message part, that's when we actually see the results of our actions because we found our meaning, we carried it out through our message, and now we end up having the fulfillment through our purpose. So again, meaning, message, mission. Meaning, message, mission. Okay, so you might say, well, Wendy, what if I can do multiple things? That's great. That's good. Then keep doing them. But also think about, what do people tell you you're really good at? I remember, and I've told this story before, when I was involved in a Bible study in Los Angeles many, many years ago when my son wasn't even born yet, and he's 31. So, and my daughter was just a little girl. And I remember going to this Bible study, and the ladies at the table were going around talking about what everybody's gifts were and what their purpose and so forth. And I was in my 20s. And they said, Wendy, you have the gift of encouragement and hospitality. And I used to think, what kind of gift is that? I mean, everybody can have that. I mean, how hard is it to have a gift of hospitality and encouragement? Hospitality is just being kind. And hospitality is just opening up your house and whatever you may have. And then encouragement is just telling people they can do it. That's basically what it's all about. But then I started thinking about it as time has gone on. And as I've gone through my various journeys in life, which partially included at one time event planning, and which deals with encouragement and hospitality. And as I've continued my journey in what I do now as a coach and as a community relations consultant and as a trainer, I deal with hospitality and I deal with encouragement. And in my own home, I've had people live with me, I've had people I've helped, and a lot of it all goes back to hospitality and encouragement. David, I see you sent a note. You said the enemy is smart. He lures you into tangential things that are good and similar to what your assignment, but aren't really your assignment. That's true too. That's part of that sidetracking where you can get sidetracked. But when you really understand your true purpose and your mission, you can always navigate back. And that's also why it's important to align yourself with people in your life that will be honest with you and that will keep you accountable to help you stay on that. So I want to encourage everyone to think about that right now, to understand, what is your assignment? Is it in alignment with your gifts? Is it something that you would do even if you weren't paid? Is it something that gives you some energy when you get up in the morning? Is it something that when you're feeling a little down, when you start to go back to thinking, I can make a difference in this? Then that's probably pretty much, your gifts and assignment being in alignment. The other thing that I was thinking about was, okay, how can I share today with everyone that I know what my assignment is right now? So we all know what we're dealing with in terms of the protests and then some of the other negative things that have been distractions, such as the looting and so forth, from what the real message and meaning is regarding the protesters. Part of my assignment is about kind of what happens after that. What happens as we continue to move through what the activists are doing, what all of the legal measures are going on? Well, for me, it's about reconciliation. Bishop Desmond Tutu talks a lot about in some of his writings the reconciliation committee that he put together or was part of after South Africa went through the end of apartheid. And you have to always have people that are able to bring people to the table to stop and think about, okay, where do we go from here? How do we continue to make this a movement and not a moment? And the problem is that sometimes people don't realize is we can change laws. We can mandate that and make that happen. But what will it take to change hearts? Think about that. We can change laws legally, but what will it take to change hearts? And if we really want things to make a difference and change for now and future generations to come, so that our children's children are not dealing with this again 100 years from now, we have to begin to change hearts. So I know that that's part of how I fit into the picture. Yes, I have donated. Yes, I do make my voice heard. And because of COVID and my age and everything, I've not been on the front lines, but I have been doing my part of what I can do. But my part will continue because I know that my voice is about helping with healing, forgiveness, conversation, people listening, so that we can make progress moving forward. I see someone says, can't be afraid to fail as you discern. It's part of the perfecting process. Is that Reverend Logan? I think it is. Good to see you, Reverend Logan. So we have to let our voices be known and heard in the areas that we can make a difference. So as we begin to bring this to a close, I always have a call to action. So what I want to encourage everyone is, three things. The first thing is, I want you to take some time this week and think about, what is it that you're really good at? What is it that people tell you that you're good at? And whatever that is, think about how that can fit into the movement right now. So for example, I like to send notes. I like to write cards. That's part of that hospitality and encouragement again. So I try to send notes, cards, donations, and no donation is too small to people that you're helping, to encourage them along their journey of the part that they're doing in the vineyard. So think about that. Think about, what is it that you do well. I see Robin has said, that I've taught you this since you were a youngster. Okay, thanks, Robin. Number 2 on our call to action is, what is it that you can get rid of right now and take off your plate so that you can focus on number 1? Because sometimes we have too much on our plate and we're not able to really make the impact that we really need to or should if we had more time or had more room. And sometimes part of that room is mental, like to allow ourselves to think and to process and to do more. So think about that. What is it that you can take off your plate in order to help you do a better job? And then number 3, which ties into number 2, is, what is holding you back? What negative voices do you have in your head? How many commitments do you have that you really don't need to have right now? And what are some other things that could either be distractions in your own personal life that are holding you back from really discovering and fulfilling your assignment? Because we all have an assignment, and you have to make sure that you're careful about that and not get too sidetracked. So remember, we can change laws, but we got to think about, how do we change hearts as relates to what our assignment is. So I'm so grateful that you've come out to be with me again today. And if you want to learn more about the work that I'm doing, or how you can support the work that I'm doing, or if you want to purchase a book, you can always go over to wendygladney.com, or you can go to seasonofgreatness.com. I never take you for granted that you've shown up. I appreciate you. And I always like to close with, healing without hate. It's a choice. It's a lifestyle. Pass it on. So again, I look forward to seeing you again next week. Work on your assignment. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.